Now, in our first story, the Media Foundation for West Africa has condemned the attack on Love FM's Erastus Asari Donko and the attempts to incite the public against him. The foundation has charged the police to take note of the dangerous pronouncements and the threats that it portends for the journalist's life. It has also urged governments to call Kennedy Ohineye-Agyapong to order to take steps to offer Erastus Asari Donko the needed protection, in what appears to be acknowledgement of a petition in which it is copied by the multimedia group to several organizations, including the presidency and police, on the threats. The Media Foundation for West Africa also condemned the management of, or commended the management of the multimedia group for bringing the matter to the attention of the police and other relevant institutions. The foundation's response was contained in an online publication on its website. Let me take you to the portal for more. And you see the caption there: MFW8 appalled at Kennedy Agyapong's call for Love FM reporter Erastus Asari Donko to be attacked. It says here, the Media Foundation for West Africa, MFWA, is appalled at the verbal attacks on Love FM's Erastus Asari Donko by the Member of Parliament for Asin Central, Kennedy Agyapong, and his calls for the journalist to be beaten. We find the MP's comments inflammatory and reckless, liable to put the life of the reporter of the Kumasi-based radio station in danger. It is therefore a frontal attack on press freedom. It says the journalist had reported on the killing of the critical social media activist Mohammed Ibrahim Anyas, popularly called Kaka, at Ijra in the Ashanti region of Ghana, and a subsequent protest by the youth of the town in which 2 people were shot dead by security forces. The reporter was later invited by a committee set up by the government to probe the incident. Commenting on Asari Donko's report and subsequent submissions before the committee, the Member of Parliament, who also chairs the Parliamentary Select Committee on Defence and Interior, subjected the journalist to vitriolic abuse and called for him to be beaten. The quote here says, "That boy should be beaten seriously. He's so annoying. For the foolish submissions he made before the committee, we have to beat the hell out of him. If I were the president, I would have ordered this boy to be whipped," the lawmaker said in an interview on July 9, 2021 on Net2 TV, which he owns. The MP also attacked Joy FM, the sister station of Love FM, and the Ghanaian media in general. The journalist has told the MFWA that following Kennedy Agyapong's attack on him and the call for him to be beaten, he does not feel safe. He said he has been asked by the management of the Multimedia Group Limited, operators of Love FM, to stay off work and keep a low profile. The management of the Multimedia Group Limited has meanwhile filed a formal complaint with the Ashanti Regional Police Command over the threats against their reporter. Sir, you may recall that sometime in the recent past, Honorable Agyapong issued similar threats against Ahmed Hussein Swale, who at the time had undertaken some journalistic works. Ahmed Hussein Swale was later horribly killed, the MJL said in their letter to the police, which copied several important institutions, including Parliament, the Presidency, and the Minsha Palace. The MFWA is deeply concerned about the MP's hostility towards Erastus Asari Donko and his open call for the journalist to be beaten. This concern is born out of Kennedy Agyapong's previous attacks on Ahmed Swale before the investigative journalist was murdered in Accra on January 16, 2019. The MP had published a picture of the undercover journalist and urged his supporters to attack him wherever they found him. Against this background, we find Kennedy Agyapong's attack on Erastus Asari Donko reckless and highly disappointing, especially from an MP, and at this time when the country is still mourning the killing of Ibrahim Mohammed Kaka and the 2 protesters. Security officers have been involved in too many operations involving civilians that have been fraught with several security breaches and ended in mayhem, thus threatening to undermine public confidence in the security service. As the chair of the Parliamentary Select Committee on Defence and Interior, we expect Kennedy Agyapong to show some concern about this sad trend. We therefore find it scandalous that he has chosen to make the media the target of his undignified tantrums. The work of the 3-man committee sitting at Ijra is, among others, to find out the perpetrators of the killing. It is therefore unfortunate, hasty, and prejudicial for Kennedy Agyapong to accuse Erastus Asari Donko in particular of causing the deaths. The MFWA condemns the attack on the journalist and the attempts to incite the public against him. We call on the police to take note of the dangerous pronouncements and the threats that it portends for the journalist's life. We urge the governments to call Kennedy Japan to order and to take steps to offer Erastus Asaridonko the needed protection. We also commend the management of MGL for bringing the matter to the attention of the police and other relevant institutions. Now, guests on PM Express last night have also been condemning the attack of the Asin Central MP on Erastus. Let's hear Emmanuel Bombandi and the others who appeared on the show.
The people of Ghana to be able to be assured that when you threaten, it doesn't matter who you are, you'll be held accountable. Because the police have not succeeded in doing that, there has been the impunity that continues. And so we are in this conversation precisely because the impunity continues. Now, keep in mind that when we talk about our democratic space, particularly in the Fourth Republic, I want to be the first to acknowledge, going back to my civil society days and in my career development, that we are lucky in Ghana to have men and women of courage, some of them participating in this conversation, who have expanded that space and have provided all of us in Ghana the capacity to hold our heads high internationally and call ourselves Ghanaians who belong to a democratic nation. So the threats are abhorrent. The threats are simply unacceptable. And so the question is, the Joy FM complaint to the police CID, would it lead to any outcome that will end the impunity I just talked about? So if I go back to your question and following the narrative around Hamed Swale and others, I doubt it. And so I am compelled to say that the impunity will continue. Second, I'm happy that all of you have mentioned the role of Honorable Kennedy Japan. He is no ordinary member of parliament. He is the chair of the Parliamentary Committee on Defense and Interior. He travels internationally. In the same interview, he talked about, towards the end, he talked about going to Central African Republic. And so he cannot be unaware of how other African countries going through war look like because of the irresponsibility and the lack of leadership that is provided by politicians. He cannot pretend to be unaware that one of the challenges is how civil society organizations and the media cannot play their watchdog roles. And that's why war continues to perpetuate itself.
Journalism is not a crime. You know, there is no job in this world that when you do wrong, anybody takes sticks or beats you up. And we also definitely ran a country that our current president, it was during his time as Attorney General that the criminal libel law was repealed. So for any journalist who practices crafts, you cannot be subjected to any criminal liability, you know, and not to talk of this case. And I think my Manasseh was spot on that nobody can point out. You see, the thing we should not lose sight of was that was a live, you know, it was live coverage. Yeah. So this is not a program where you even say it was canned. So you go home and go and prepare it. It was covering the incident as it happened. You know, so nobody, well, I'm still waiting for it. But even if there was a wrong that was done, there are clearly spelled out ways in which we deal with that. The president does not have the power to beat anybody. And the president would not go out beating anybody. So to issue out threats like that and to have a very influential person who is the chairperson of a very influential, you know, committee of parliament issue threats on live TV that is also covered. It's definitely very worrying. And for all of us, and it's not only for those who have managed media before or for media practitioners, as citizens of this country, we ought to know that the media hold for us the right to free speech, the right to free expression. And so when that gets threatened, it is all of us, our rights, that is being trampled upon. And we should all seek that that should not happen.
Reasonable human being feel very uncomfortable. And for being a Ghanaian, it also makes me feel very ashamed, considering the fact that we have had incidents of this nature. And it didn't end well with the late Ahmed Swale. And if we are living in a society that authorities would always say, don't take the law into your own hands. And once you are told not to take the law into your own hands, then we operate with the assumption that others will seek justice on your behalf. That is, those that are mandated by the law, the police and others. If I should threaten the daughter of the president on this show, the show will not end. And then I would have national security operatives picking me up. I will sleep in my house tonight. Not just the daughter or child of the president, but any of the powerful people. That is, even if nothing happens to them. Ahmed Swale was openly threatened, and he eventually lost his life, and nobody lost sleep over it. So when something happens and then you expect the state to act and they don't act, it is often an avenue for impunity. And for someone who has been threatened a number of times, it isn't easy to be threatened. I wouldn't say, apart from people who are suicidal, I don't think there's anybody who walks about saying or thinking that, well, it is normal that somebody can just threaten me and end my life or beat me or anything. Nothing warrants what has happened.
Now, still on this story, media industry players have this afternoon condemned the verbal attacks on Love FM's Erastus Asare Donkor. They are demanding urgent investigations into calls by the Ascent Central MP that the journalists should be beaten. The Media Foundation for West Africa, Ghana Journalists Association and other players today held a news conference on the matter. This follows Mr. Japon's comments on a TV program indicating that the journalists who had covered the Ejura disturbances and appeared before the committee ought to be beaten. Roland Afil-Moni, who spoke on behalf of the industry players, says this must be treated seriously.
It can be a fatal gamble to toy with the threats against the life of Erasmus Asare Donkor. Every life is of sacred worth and intrinsic value. The right to life and personal liberty is of primordial importance, which all Ghanaians everywhere and at all times must enjoy. The life of Erasmus Asare Donkor must be protected at all costs, and we urge the national security apparatus to take this up with urgent promptitude and utmost seriousness. It is not enough for the petition to the relevant quarters to gain traction. What is most needed is concrete action on all fronts to address the issue. And we shall not rest until something concrete is done. On Ahmed Swale's assassination, it is significant to note that the report by Journalists Without Borders cited impunity and timid attempts to fight it as the main reason for the decline in Ghana's ranking on the World Press Freedom Index. The latest threats against Erasmus Asare Donkor present another prompting to deal surgically with the cancer of impunity, which is a stain on Ghana's reputation as the citadel of press freedom in Africa.
Let's move to a related story, and the youth in Ejura would have done what they did even if the municipal commander had been proactive in dealing with complaints of alleged attacks on Kaka. That's the reaction from Nifahene Nanose Kojo and Sebie, the sub-traditional chief of Ejura, while testifying a while ago before the Justice Kumson's Committee of Inquiry into the Ejura incident. Let's bring you more of his responses at the committee today.
Do you think if the municipal police commander had been proactive in the complaints lodged by the youth regarding the assault on Kaka, it would have degenerated to the level that it got to?
My Lord, knowing Ejura as it is, and the sort of violence and those things that come in, whether they took immediate action or they delayed, I believe those who did what they did would have done the same thing. It might have contributed to it, but definitely is not the only reason for that.
If I understand you, you are saying that if the municipal police commander had even acted proactively on the complaint lodged in respect of the assaults on Kaka, the youth will still have done what they did?
Yes, my Lord. I'm saying that because if it was only the police, their alleged delay, then in the disturbances, they should have limited it to the police. They wouldn't have extended it to go and destroy other facilities, structures, and those things in town. So I believe, yes, it might have contributed. It might have been one of the causes, but I will not say that that's the only thing that led to it.
My next question, Nana, is, in your view, do you think, looking at the conduct of the demonstrators, there was the need for the deployment of the military on that day?
I will, my Lord, again go back with the point that Ejura over the years, I've experienced a lot of such demonstrations where I was not shooting. I mean, not the way where we had the casualty. And invariably, they always had to get the military to intervene and cool down things over there. So I believe getting them in was a good thing. Sadly, it led to casualties, but it was a good thing.
Very well. And in your view, do you think the timing, looking at the police reinforcement from the division, then to the region, do you think the timing of the military intervention was too early?
In expressing my view on the timings, things degenerate at a very fast rate when the row started. Like on the 29th, when they started, and from the cemetery, when they chased away the police van, it wouldn't have taken them even 30 minutes to reach the police station and go beyond to wherever it is that they wanted to go. So, timings, if you want to wait and go through the procedure stage by stage, as my prof will ask maybe in the IS operations, and then this and that. The situation was fluid. It was fluid, and I think the timings was okay.
And the deployment of the water cannon at the cemetery, do you think that was the right thing for the police to have done? People going to bury the dead without any sort of provocation at the cemetery, peacefully burying their dead. Then they move in police water cannon. Don't you think that itself was an act of provocation to the youth?
Act of provocation, to some extent, yes. But with what happened on the 28th, I think the police was being proactive, or probably they were trying to preempt any kind of things. But yes, going there and with the idea that the police maybe did not act, not that they did not assist, because there was nothing they could have done on the death or otherwise of Kaka. But I think, yes, seeing the police over there might have infuriated or irritated the youth at that place, at that point.
Yes, and don't you think that if they were even anticipating any further reaction from the youth, it would have been appropriate for them to have kept the water cannon vehicle at the police station instead of going to the cemetery?
Now, maybe we can, or I can make that comment, because this is after the event.
Nancy Bey was the only witness to appear before the committee today. Sitting has since been adjourned to a yet-to-be-announced date. We'll take you back when they resume. Let's move to other stories. And a young lady has been shot dead at Maxima Junction in Kumasi. Eyewitnesses say 2 suspected armed men on a motorbike opened fire on her and made away with their mobile phone at about 9:30 p.m. yesterday. She was found in a pool of blood, bleeding from injuries in the chest. Nana Jenny Boateng, who rushed the victim to the K University Hospital, said the lady was pronounced dead on arrival. He spoke with Joy News.
I was buying my fruit and I heard a sudden gunshot. Boom, boom. So I rushed to the scene and move my car and bring the victim to the hospital. According to the doctors, she has passed on. It's so sad. A young lady about 19, 20, 21 has been shot and they have taken her mobile phone away from her. It's so sad. It's so sad. The security must be up and doing. The insecurity is becoming unbecoming in the city of Kumasi.
Now, Love FM's Nana Aljima reports that residents of Maxima who are living in fear. He joins us live with more. Nana, tell us a bit more of what we know about this incident.
So the area we are talking about is a commercial area. Most of the people who witnessed the incident yesterday are people who ply their trade along the Maxima Junction route. Now, the people now say they are afraid for their lives, even though they've witnessed a number of robbery incidents. This is the first time they are seeing someone being shot after such an incident. So they believe that these robbers who used to rob them of their belongings are now going more dangerous, and therefore there will be the need for police to strengthen security in the area. Having conversations with some of the people, I realized that until now they used to have a watchdog committee who used to patrol the area in the evening, helping police them ensure that the place is calm or there's no threat from armed robbers. But at the point most of the people in the area refused to pay the levies that they used to support the activity of this watchdog committee, leading to its collapse. Now, immediately after the watchdog committee was collapsed, they are witnessing a lot of incidents that this one particularly has led to the claim of the life of one of these people. So some of the people believe that there's a need for the residents to also take their security into their own hands and ensure that they pay the necessary levies to help the watchdog committee work to ensure the place is safe. So there hasn't been much coming from the police themselves, but according to them, the CCTV cameras mounted in the area should be able to help them find these perpetrators.
Nana Ojima, thank you very much for reporting that incident. Let's move to other stories. Executive Director of the Ghana Integrity Initiative, Linda Ofori-Kwafo, is opposing attempts to force former First and Second Ladies to refund allowances paid them while their spouses were in office. Speaking with Joy News on the sidelines of the launch of the 2021 Integrity Report, Madame Ofori-Kwafo said the presidential spouses should not be compelled to pay back.
So it's not an easy question to respond to. So then, on top of my head, I can say that we don't need it. We don't need it. But then, you still have to understand how it was started. You still have to understand the object and all that in relation to that subject. You still have to even discuss the amount and all those things involved. So a broader stakeholder conversation on this matter is very, very important. I also overheard you saying that because some people have actually returned actually said they're not going to take their allowances any longer and have been going to refund that which they have taken in the past. It's a personal decision they have taken. Once there is no law saying that you should all return your money, the rest who have not returned their money, it's a personal decision they still have to make. For me, I've seen the social media discussions on the subject on Facebook, and they shouldn't actually force anybody to do so. That's a personal decision a person has taken, and it depends on the rest. But if you have actually taken money, it doesn't mean that you have to go and accumulate it and bring it back to the state. Is that what the public were really looking for? Or were they saying that don't pass a law, don't pay them, don't make it official, don't make it legal, yes.
Now, she's also charging governments to take advantage of the rejection by the current First and Second Ladies to halt such payments and allow for a proper streamlining of emoluments for presidential spouses.
The people say who elected the people who elected MPs are not getting free cars. They do so this kind of thing. So I still want to stand by my earlier point that we should have a conversation around this. There might be some good reasons in there, but now that people are also talking about it, apart from the first ladies themselves saying that we don't want it any longer, it means that there will be no payments. So it means that if even we set the payments in motion, they won't receive it. So then it can also mean you can halt it now, you can stop it now. Let us have the conversation on the subject. I don't know whether you really got the point. The point is that the recipients are saying we don't want it any longer. The others have not said so. But we can use the recipient, the two who have said we don't want it any longer, as a basis for halting it and quickly organizing a conversation around this. I think that would be one of the best.
You're live on Joy News today with me, Daniel Daze. Coming up in business, the Greater Accra Poultry Farmers Association and the Ghana Feed Millers Association are calling on the Ministry of Food and Agriculture to sign a memorandum of understanding with feed millers to help address scarcity and the spike in prices of maize and poultry feed on the market. Daryl Kyle has details after this.
Hello, welcome to Business. My name is Daryl Kwao. The Greater Accra Poultry Farmers Association and the Ghana Feed Millers Association are calling on the Ministry of Food and Agriculture to sign a memorandum of understanding with feed millers to help address scarcity and the spike in prices of maize and poultry feed on the market. Both associations believe such an MOU will guarantee at least 50% supply of poultry feed. Even though the ministry has given poultry farmers a green light to import, they say the cost of importing maize is exorbitant compared with buying on the local market. There's more in this report. President of the Greater Accra Poultry Farmers Association, Michael Nyakwampem, said a memorandum of understanding between the Ministry of Food and Agriculture and feed millers will enable consistent supply of poultry feed. He made the call amid a list of problems poultry farmers are facing during a press conference to highlight their challenges.
We are willing and able to sustain the poultry industry as farmers, but the situation we find ourselves in currently is seriously inhibiting any strategy that we are adopting. We cannot sit idly by to let the investment made by our members and that of other poultry farmers to go waste. We, on behalf of all the actors in the poultry industry, are requesting that. We are appealing to the government to encourage ADB Bank to partner with private businessmen and women to help import maize specifically for the poultry industry. We are also appealing to the government to look again at the issue of broiler importation. MOUs should be signed with feed millers in the medium term to supply at least 50% of the total maize requirements of feed mills through the outgrowers and aggregators. The mother ministry, which is the Food and Agriculture Ministry, should facilitate the signing of an MOU with the wheat millers for consistent supply of at least 50% of the total requirements of the feed mills at a mutually agreed price.
Mr. Nyakwampem also indicated that the Agricultural Development Bank is not supportive, hence members of the association are reluctant to apply for loans from the bank.
ADB, the interest rate is quite high, and some of the conditions, I think they were asking for about 120% collateral. So how many people will have that ability to do 120% collateral? So it's not for want of trying. Discussions have gone on, but these are the challenges out here. That's why we've come out.
Meanwhile, a poultry farmer, Evelyn Saki, told Joy Business the association is not doing much to address challenges of poultry farmers.
Now I want to buy about 20 bags. They said they will give me only 10 bags. They don't have, so they have to ration it. They have to give me 10, they have to give somebody 2. So it means every 5-6 days you have to come back. If I buy the 20 bags, maybe it will take me about 2 weeks before I will come back. But now 5-6 days, because you don't have to wait till the feed got finished before you come back. The government should come to their aid, or they themselves should import. They have to do it themselves because it's a private company. They have to go to the farms, the tamale, or they have to go and buy. They can't sit here and say brony.
So you feel that the association is not trying enough for you?
It's a private company.
So they are not trying enough for you?
Yes, they have to go to the farmers and go and buy.
In other news, the Universal Merchant Bank has introduced an innovative savings product for government workers that will attract many Ghanaians to save. The tailor-made account has an attractive interest rate of 7.5% that will increase with time according to prevailing market conditions. The Controller Lock Saver account is the first of its kind, which will be done through the Controller and Accountant General's department. Here's a report. Of Consumer Banking at UMB, Samuel Sechi Hyde, says the new Controller Lock Saver account has an interest rate of 7.5%. According to him, the account has traits of treasury bills, hence the interest rate will go higher as the value of T-bills increases.
We are not looking at the magnitude of the money, and that is why we said you can even top up 20 Ghana cedis, 10 Ghana cedis over the period. So the interest rates on the UMB Lock Saver accounts is 7.5%. What we have factored in is that as and when, interest rates are reviewed, and we have tied it to the 91-day treasury bill. So as and when they review it upwards, we also adjust our basis point.
Chief Executive of UMB, Nana Dremo Bene referred to a survey conducted by the bank's research team, which indicated a great desire for savings products amongst Ghanaians.
Every Ghanaian knows the value of savings. It is embedded in our folklore. So, for example, you hear things like Yensum, Insio Entren Ope, and other proverbs in every community you go to. Our research has indicated that Ghanaians want savings that can be locked away, very much like in the old Susu system. Savings that you can truly access when the need is keen, which is why we have designed this unique savings account to complement our offering to the Ghanaian worker.
The account is the first of its kind, offering products through the Office of the Controller and Accountant General. In his remark, the Controller and Accountant General acknowledged the bank's initiative for taking advantage of the third-party reference system. Here's Kwesi Kwenim Busumpim.
I am excited today. We are here to launch the UBM Log Saver innovative product, which seeks to offer GOG employees paid on the payroll system the golden opportunity to save using the TPRS system. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, savings have become a critical matter in our country, especially for workers. Ghanaian workers deserve to maintain a quality life after retirement. This is possible through sound financial decisions such as saving. Putting aside a little amount of your monthly income is your best bet to a peaceful and fulfilling retirement.
That's your business update. Up next, sports.
And to some football now, where House of Oaks midfielder Emmanuel Nete, who played an instrumental role in ending the Phobia's 11-year wait for a league title, says his mother has been an incredible pillar in his footballing career. He has been speaking to my colleague George Addo Jr. and he filed this report.
Mothers can either be incredibly annoying or very insightful, depending on how old you are. But their love is unwavering and they always find the strength to ensure a good life for their children. Mother of Accra Hearts of Oak midfielder Emmanuel Nete is obviously no different. Gloria Kayodai, who is a fishmonger at the Nungwa market in Accra, went above and beyond the call of a duty to help her son make it in football. The Ghana Premier League title winner is more than grateful.
The joy of my mom is to see the son making waves, making it big in his HSF career, and I'm happy. That is where my mom finds herself now. She's so happy we've been able to win the league, and she's a proud mom. She's so proud of myself. She's so proud of herself. Even though in the beginning she had no interest in me doing this, but now the results are positive and it's yielding positive fruits. I say God bless her for me.
Emmanuel Nete's mom took supporting her son to another level and caught the eye when she turned up at the Nungwa market in an Accra Hearts of Oak jersey for the first time, following the Phobians' title triumph in over a decade.
It just happened that on the day we won the league was the day my mom decided to put on the jersey, which I had no idea about. But then I was given the heads up by my brother, and I told him to give me some shots of mom in the jersey. And coincidentally, it was behind the trade, the business that has actually catered for me through my education, supported me to where I am today. So that's how come the pictures were taken at the market, and I decided to show the world I've got a supportive mom who actually loves what I'm doing.
Such a touching story, and a special gift to honor your mom, who has been there for you all this while on the biggest stage of all. Kudos, Ima.
That is your sports for now, but there is more sports on myjoyonline.com/sports. I am Muftau Nabila Abdullahi.
Good afternoon, welcome to Showbiz here on Joy News Today. Now, gospel musician Ohima Mercy has announced US-based Dr. Phil Thompson, Nigeria's Prosper, Sisi Chum, Michael Starkey, MOG Music, Francis Amo, Ankalato, and Obapa Christie as headline artists for this year's Tehila Experience. According to the musician, this year's edition will be under the theme Beyond the Veil, which will attempt to take conveners into deeper corridors of communion with God through the weapon of praise. Here's Ohima Mercy.
To testify that Tehila Experience is a spiritual thing, and that we don't just do anything just like that. So we've been praying, and we have not gotten the green light to move from the place. But I believe that the right time will come, that the Lord will actually direct us to where we have to move to.
Necessitated the whole lineup for this year? We have some foreign acts coming. It's not like you haven't brought any foreign acts. What is so special about this lineup that we should all look forward to come 8th of August?
We prayed. I think we presented a lot of artists before the Lord, and these are the wonderful artists God gave us the green light to bring on bill, and we are believing that all these wonderful artists are spiritually, and they believe in worship, and when they stand to worship, things happen. So it was the right direction God gave to us, and we believe that this year God is going to use them massively to affect people.
A little bit whispered to me that you have a theme song for this year's Tehila Experience. Have we ever had that? No, we don't.
We have never, and this year God gave us a song, His Glory, and we unveiled it somewhere last month, and it's doing very, very well.
Now, social media sensation Moesha Budon has made some shocking revelations about the life she lived over the years after becoming well known in the country. In a viral video cited by Joy News, the 31-year-old actress said she attempted to commit suicide by jumping off an uncompleted story building, but was stopped by some workers nearby.
Before I shared my testimony at church, it wasn't an easy thing. I was battling with a lot of things. I was sick. I was so sick because the devil didn't want me to speak up. Ministry, I've given everything. See me, the way I'm looking. But me looking like this, I'm happier than those days that you saw me that I was driving Range Rover traveling. I was not happy. I was not a happy child. So all these girls that have looked at my lifestyle, or say I want to be like Moesha. Easy. It's not easy. It's not easy at all. Some go and some die. Some of these girls go and they die because of the wrong men they sleep with. They take our glory. They take our glory. When God created us, God has given us, all of us, wealth and power. All these men do is to sleep with us and take our glory and give us peanuts. Don't let the devil make you think, say, selling your body. Or don't let anybody make you think, say, selling your body will take you to riches. It doesn't take you to riches. It wasn't okay. I battled with a lot. I took weed.
On that note, we end Showbiz here on Joy News Today. My name is Becky.
Of Joy News Today. Many thanks for joining us. My name is Daniel Dazi. See you tomorrow, and up next is The Marketplace.